Hi guys, today I'm going to do a quick beginner lesson on classical guitar. So I'm going to give you a few quick tips that'll help you get started on learning classical guitar. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do and hit the bell for notifications. I'll have regular guitar content on this channel, so keep tuned in for that. So just before we start, I graduated from university with a degree in music performance in classical guitar. So I hope I can give you a few tips today that'll help you get started if it's something you're interested in learning. So the first thing I want to talk about is your posturing and your position. So it's quite common for classical guitarists to use a foot step to put your foot on. So I've got a foot step here. Just put your foot up on it like that. So this improves the angle that you're going to play the guitar with. If you're a right-handed guitarist, you usually have your left leg up on the step like this. The guitar is nice and close to your body. Your left hand is up high, so it's nice and comfortable. And it gives a bit of an angle for your right hand as well, so it's easier to pick. Alright, so the next thing to talk about is your fingernails. A lot of classical guitarists grow their nails out. Mine are not that long at the moment. I've kind of not been playing that much classical guitar recently, so I cut them, but they're growing out a little bit now. So a lot of people use a nail file to smoothen them off. If you're starting to learn some classical songs, don't worry too much about your nails. You can still play without them. It's just that the nails give a better tone and some more volume as well. But just for practicing with, you can go ahead and start practicing. You don't need to grow your nails out straight away. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is your right hand technique. So the basics of this is that generally we use these four fingers here. Your thumb, your index, your middle and your ring finger. Using the pinky as a picking finger is not so common. Sometimes people use it, but generally not. In classical guitar, these are generally referred to as P, I, M and A. They come from the Spanish names of these fingers. Can't remember the actual words off the top of my head. But what we're going to do is your thumb, which we call P, generally picks the three lowest strings. And that'll be used to kind of usually play the bass notes in the songs. Then these three fingers take a string each. So your first finger will generally play the G string, your middle finger will generally play the B string, and your third finger will generally play the high E string. Alright, so as you play, it'll kind of be the start of Nothing Else Matters by Metallica is actually a very good way to get familiar with this positioning. Okay, so the thumb playing the bass and one string per finger with these three fingers here. Now they can move around and play other strings, but generally that's the rule. Okay, so just a quick tip on your left hand positioning. Generally we try to find a position where you can get one finger per fret and you'll move positions accordingly. Now as songs become more complex you will have to break out of that shape, but that's a good starting point. Okay, so another exercise that I've done a video on is to choose one fret to start off on and go down through every note chromatically on each string. Okay, and you can see I'm kind of walking with these two fingers. So that's a nice little exercise that can help you get started. Okay guys, so just before we go on, I'd love to know, are there any classical guitar pieces that you've learned or that you'd like to learn? You can pop the names of them down below, and maybe I could even do a video on one of them in the future. So the last tip I want to talk about is sight reading. Sight reading is an area that guitarists generally don't like to go into so much compared to other classical instruments. But I'd recommend learning, at your own pace, practicing a little bit of sight reading. This will help you a lot because I think in rock music and pop music, we generally learn to use tabs, but in classical music, actual musical notation is used more often. It's harder to learn classical pieces through tabs. It doesn't indicate the rhythms as much. So just practice a little bit. It'll help you a lot in the long term. I know it is quite difficult to do. My own sight reading isn't particularly strong, but I know the basics of it. It just helps to learn pieces that way. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed that video. If you'd like more tips on playing guitar, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below, and I'll see you soon.